What it do, y'all? It's your girl Makeup and Travel, and for today's video your girl is bringing you a get ready with me. This is now my second get ready with me I've done in a very short time, literally yesterday and today. Today I wanted to talk about how I book my trips. Somebody asked me to do that, and I really felt like that was a good topic for get ready with me, and so I wanted to wait until I could put makeup on to actually answer that person's questions. So today I'm going to be accomplishing this look. I tried to do blush caping, I think that's what it's called. I put some reds on. I'm not very comfortable in reds, but I wanted to go out in my box. So if you're interested in seeing how I created this look and hearing more about how I book and kind of establish my trips, then just keep watching. Hey guys, so this is now day 2 in my journey of being able to put makeup on. As you can see, no allergic reactions happen, so your girl is happy. And I'm just going to continue to avoid the couple of items that I'm currently avoiding in my collection. And honestly, those can just be decluttered. It's not that stressful for me. It's not that beneficial for me. They can go. So I just sprayed my Morphe spray to give my skin a little bit more hydration, and now let's just go ahead and put on my primer. There are a couple of different things that I was thinking about talking about today, just to kind of get myself on some form of topic. And somebody asked me to do a video on how I plan my trips, so I'm just gonna kind of talk about that while I put on my makeup, in case you're interested and you want to know. And then this also allows me to put on more makeup because that's all I want to do. So one of the very first things that I always do, and this might sound very like obvious, but it's something that like I still feel is a step in when I'm planning what I want, where I want to go, is to figure out where I want to go. I have a couple of goals when it comes to my personal travels. So like one of the goals is I would love to hit all the continents before I hit 30, which I have, you know, a couple years. I can't even remember how many, but I have a couple of years. And then after I hit that goal, I would love to hit every state in the US, which is a reason why I did that whole 9 states in 2019, and I clearly have not accomplished any of those. So that's why I have both of those to like kind of pan that palette goals, is because I wanted to help myself get there, and just do it in a kind of creative way. So my first thing I always do is I figure out where I want to go. For this newest trip that I am actually planning, I knew I wanted to go to a different country. I loved going to different countries, and I really wanted to make this birthday even more special than my previous ones have been. Just because like my last birthday, it was special, but I was still in the US. I just went to Alaska, which, you know, it's fun, but yeah. So I decided that I definitely wanted to go and visit a friend who's in New Zealand. And then while I was over there, I decided I was also going to go to Australia because I always wanted to go to Australia as well. So that was kind of my first step, was just to figure out where in the dickens I wanted to go. Next after that was figuring out some information about both countries, because I've honestly never claimed to be a geography person. That is just not me at all. You can ask me all the time like, where's this, where's that, and I'm gonna stare at you. I'm gonna literally stare at you until you figure it out yourself, because I can't help somebody. What is it? The blind can't help the blind. Like I'm blind when it comes to geography. It's bad. The only continent that I halfway have my geography together for is Africa, and that's because I had so many minors in undergrad where I had to do so many like geography classes for Africa that like a good amount of it stuck. But other than that, child, I'm the blind when it comes to geography. And child, what am I saying? So what I like to do is figure out some information about said country, location, wherever that I want to go. So first I tend to actually go to my local library and get a travel book. And in those travel books, they have basically, you know, the very beginner information, kind of like the touristy information about whatever country you're looking at. And that I like because it gives me a basis. Whether I like the information that they give to me, whether I actually use the information that they give me is honestly irrelevant. It's just the fact that I'm getting that information that I enjoy. So, I definitely go to the library. I check out all the books, the newest books that they have on the place that I want to visit, and I just go through. I go through and check. Typically, depending on the brand of the travel book that you get, they actually have like how to get around this country in like 10 days or whatever, and they have their own little like tours and stuff set up, which is cool. Don't get me wrong, but I also know that what do I know? Sis, what do you know? I also know that I like to plan my own stuff, so I just like to see from an outsider's viewpoint what they imagine being some interesting things to do in the country, and then off of that I kind of build my own, like, this is what I want to do. Oh no, there's still some purple on this. Great. Yep. And then from there I build and I get to see like what I actually want to do in that country based on some of the options. Another thing that I like to do to kind of figure out basically what I want to do is I also contend to go on like a website. So I have found that a lot of countries actually have like .orgs or .edus about themselves, where you can actually plan your trip from them. Like Alaska has a .org, I want to say, and I believe I found some information on Australia's website as well. If I can remember, I'll do my best to link all this stuff down below for you guys. But and of course the products that I'm using. But where was I going with this? If you go on that website, it makes it easier for you to get like legitimate activity booking places. So like one of the things that I want to do when I'm in Australia is I want to go to the Australian Open. That's actually what narrowed down the dates for me, is because the Australian Open is only occurring, what, January, the last 2 weeks of January. And so that's what decided that I wasn't going to actually go on my birthday trip on my birthday, but I was actually going to push it back. That and like everybody always wants my birthday off, which is super annoying. I mean, clearly I want my own birthday off, but other people always want it and whatever. So I just didn't even bother to try and fight to have my own birthday off this year. It is what it is. But yeah, it's just really an easy way to kind of slowly build your knowledge about a place by doing these small steps. After I figure out what I want to, or where I want to go, I figure out kind of the general background. That's when I like to shop for flights. I like to know what I'm getting myself into flight and money wise overall. I'm actually happy. I just bought 2 of my 4 flights. The other 2 are a little too expensive for me right now, and so I'm gonna kind of chance it and see if the flight prices go down. If not, that'll give me more time to save more money and then just to pay them later. But those prices are a little too extreme. And going to Australia and New Zealand, one thing I did not realize until after I got to this phase is that all flights route out of the West Coast. So if you're not from the West Coast, or at least living on the West Coast, you have to pay an arm and a leg to fly out to that general vicinity, and then to fly to your real destination. The one thing I haven't decided if I'm going to do it or not is that there are a lot of like 2-3 day flights, and depending on the layover, it can give me the opportunity to travel and see another location, even if it's just overnight, which could be nice. But then it might reduce the amount of time that I have in Australia, because I already only have a couple of days, because of just the amount of days it takes you to get to Australia. So I don't know if I personally want to take even more days by stopping in other countries along the way and like visiting those countries, or if I want to just focus on what I already have kind of thing and go from there. I haven't truly figured it out. Eventually I will, who knows. But yeah, my flights really are a very big factor for me. They help me figure out what I should be saving and how much I be saving, because for me, activities, those are always going to cost money. You know, I'm not really overly stressed over how expensive my activities are. That I'll figure out later on in life. But the flights and the housing, those are two things that you can't really wait for. You really have to figure that out. You really have to know, like, I'm spending X, Y, and Z on this, and you really have to be willing to do that, because otherwise you're gonna be up a creek. I don't like that. I'm gonna go over that later, but just for the just to keep it similar. Okay, so after I figure out my flights and I kind of budget that stuff out, then I like to go and budget out my housing. I have been really into Airbnb lately. So that has been the means in which I have been traveling and staying in other countries. It's been really good. I haven't had a bad experience when I've booked an Airbnb. I've had bad experiences when somebody else has booked it. But even with that bad experience, they immediately gave us the money back and gave us a voucher as well. So it just, to me, Airbnb is really good. I like that you can get to live in other people's houses, and depending on the trip, I actually don't mind if other people are actually living there, because then I can actually talk to them about things that I might want to go see and stuff like that, and they can give me advice. Whereas some of my more personal trips where I have more people with me, I don't want that. I just want a place where we can go when we're not out adventuring. And so I don't need somebody, you know, kind of watching over me, making sure everything is good. As for this trip, I think I'm just gonna really just do the loner thing. And I'm gonna buy out an entire apartment or house or whatever in all of my stays. I'm considering going to multiple places in both locations. Like right now, I'm seeing if I can swing it to go to both Melbourne and Sydney, and then also go to Queenstown and some other places that my friend mentioned. Like I said, thankfully I have a friend that lives in New Zealand, so I just texted her, or not texted her, I just DM'd her like, hey sis, give me some more locations. I also want to go to more locations in New Zealand, and she gave me a bunch of other places that she thought would work. So that is very, very nice. I kind of want to deepen out my outer V. We'll see if it works. It is a red, so it might be hard. I might have to use a black, but I don't want to. So let's see if this brown will. won't. Okay, black it is. So yeah, after I figure out all of the base pricing, so the for the flight and for the Airbnb, that's when I start to personally start to save, and just kind of prepare myself for paying those prices. Those prices are never fun at all, but if you want to have fun, you gotta pay them. So like I said, I've already bought 2 out of my 4 flights. The one interesting thing about this trip is I have to do so many like one-way flights that it doesn't seem as though it costs as much, but it does once you build it up, and once you do all the conversions. Because like one of my flights, my flight from Sydney to New Zealand, is actually in like New Zealand currency. So I got an interesting preview on their currency, which one thing I should really start to do is actually look at people's currency before I decide I'm gonna go there, because I never actually do that. I always just kind of figure it out when I'm there, and I'm like, oh, I'm losing money being here, fun. Or oh, I'm gaining money being here, that's nice. I never really do that ahead of time. I should start to. But anyways, yeah, so once I already get all of that stuff, I start to save a little bit and just kind of budget the rest of my life around that saving. So that's another reason why I have slowed down on my makeup purchasing, is because I knew that I had to save a good amount of money, and I still didn't save the amount of money that I wanted, because I have different savings accounts for different things. And yeah, that's another story for another day, but it's okay. I'm gonna make it work. I always do. But yeah, so after I budget out my flights and my Airbnbs, I start to save, and then I slowly start to budget out my activities. I never really stress over booking my activities all that much in advance. Like, I definitely like to get them in at least like 2 months in advance. So I personally probably won't even book my activities until December. That might be risky. I think the only activity I'm going to try and book soon is for the Australian Open. I don't want all the tickets that I can afford to sell out. I do just really want to go at least one day. I'm not trying to be there for multiple days just because of how short my trip in actual Australia is going to be. I'm actually going to have a longer time in New Zealand, just the way it worked out. But I do just want to at least go there one day. I have like this tradition thing that I do with my dad, so I'm gonna make sure to achieve all of those traditions, and just have fun. If you did not know, play tennis. Well, played, past tense. I haven't played tennis in a really long time. And that was kind of a bonding thing for me and my dad. My dad was a super good tennis player when he was younger, still is. And so yeah, we were able to kind of bond over that, which is always nice. And yeah, so I really want to go to the Australian Open, so that's probably going to be the one activity that I actually book sooner rather than later, because I don't have time for all those cheaper tickets, and cheap being a very loose term, because those tickets are like $80. Whereas when I went to when I went to Wimbledon, those tickets were not that expensive. Like, and we bought them same day, and they were pretty cheap. So I am just a wee bit flustered right now when it comes to the pricing, but your girl gonna get through it, because I got to. And I really want to just, when I'm there, I mean, it just seems stupid not to actually go to the Australian Open if I'm there. So I'm definitely going to make it happen, but I am going to complain about the pricing while I'm making it happen, if you know what I mean. But after I make the activities and stuff, that's pretty much it. I mean, I don't really do a lot of, I don't do a lot of research, honestly. I know there's certain places that I want to visit. I want to go for various reasons, and I just do it. Those are kind of the basic, like, this is how I get to a place, this is how I make my decisions. I don't really know what else to talk about. I do know that, like, for this trip, looking at the pricing and the flights that I'm flying through, I'm not checking a bag. Like, from here to Oakland, I'm flying Delta. Delta doesn't give you a free bag. So what? Your girl ain't doing it. I'm not doing it. So I am going to only be doing check-in, or so as you can see, my makeup has progressed quite drastically. I didn't realize my camera stopped recording. So I was trying to say that I am only going to be bringing a carry-on for this trip because of all the different flights and flight carriers that I'm going through. I'm not paying for a checked bag between all of those different flights. I'm not the one. I refuse to be the one, so I'm not going to be it. I really like where this makeup has gone. I basically just did my foundation. I don't think you missed anything. I was just babbling about nonsense, honestly, so don't worry too much about missing anything. But overall, I'm just really excited for this trip. This is going to be my first out of the country experience where I don't have any sort of netting, where I don't have any friends going with me. I don't have any family members going with me. I'm not going to meet an organization. I'm not going to volunteer with an organization. Like, I'm purely just going. I have booked the things by myself, and we're just going to see how it goes. We're going to see if I can get through these shenanigans by myself, or if I have trouble, etc., etc. And the reason why I'm comfortable doing it here first, like here being Australia first, is because they speak English. I do have a couple other like solo-ish trips that I would love to make, but those I need to brush up on that country's primary language. And so this trip just seemed like an easier one for me to do in the current state that I'm in. I am currently working on learning a language for my program. If you're wondering what language, it's Swahili. So I do know, you know, a decent amount. I can carry a conversation. Whether it's the conversation that I'm going to be quizzed on is the question. But I can carry a conversation, and yeah, I don't know. I'm constantly stressing over the fact that I probably don't know enough Swahili to pass that test, and I'm still not going to be able to graduate because of it. But, you know, I'm trying to let some of these stressors go, and they just won't go away. I need a blush. Maybe I'll try that blush caping technique that I saw what's her name do. So I don't think I truly have anything else to say. Like, I've kind of said it. I mean, I don't really do all that much planning ahead, which probably is weird because I am a huge planner. I have like my own life planned, but I don't have like my trips planned down to a T. I like to leave room for shenanigans to happen, for me to get lost, for me to have not booked something, and then for me to figure it out on the spot. Because once I'm on vacation, I just overall just relax, and I just kind of do whatever I have to do to get through. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I can't think of anything else that I do to prepare for my flights. I've already kind of talked about how I pack for my flights, and I will link that up in the cards in case you did not see that video. That's a really good video. I will be doing obviously the carry-on. I'll probably carrying on my duffel because that seems to be one of the easier ways for me to do a carry-on and get the most bang for my buck, because those small suitcases, you really don't get to put that much clothes in there, and I'm gonna be gone for 2 weeks, so I want to have a good amount of clothes but also a good amount of other things. I don't know if I'm doing this blush caping thing right. I feel like I used the wrong highlighter. I feel like it didn't blend well with this blush. It's okay. What do I care? We're just gonna put on an obscene amount of blush today. That's fine. What's new? So let's go ahead and do my lower lash line now. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I need to kind of reiterate. I don't think so. I think I've kind of talked this horse dead. And yeah, I'm already, of course, thinking about where I'm gonna go after this trip. Like I said, I have something immediately happening before this trip, the centennial with my sorority. I'm very excited. It's actually happening near my house, so I don't have to book anything. Your girl can just go if I have the time, because I think I work those days, so we'll see how it goes. But either way, I'm happy I'll be in the area. And then afterwards it'll be a new year. No, well, the new year will have started before I even left, so it'll be interesting. My next big trip is probably, I'm either gonna go back to the continent of Africa and work on my Swahili in person with people. That'd be very, very exciting. Or I'm going to go to Japan. I think those are going to be like my next 2 big trips that I've just been delaying because of the language that I want to learn, and I'm tired of delaying. So I think those are going to be the next 2 places that I go to. I've said it multiple times, but in case you don't know, I took Japanese in high school, loved it, but for various reasons I ended up stopping it after what, my 2nd year, 3rd year, something like that. And since then I haven't had the time or a reason to pick it up again, so I'm not fluent. Not that I was fluent when I was learning it, but you know, I was like ingrained in learning, so you know what you know. Whereas now the girl don't even know what I knew. I just know that I knew. So I want to work on that. Like I said, right now I'm already working on my Swahili for my degree program, so theoretically that will probably be the first trip that I do, because I will already know the language or be able to finesse knowing the language. And then I'll kind of go from there. Those are probably the next 2 big trips, and I can kind of, are my eyes blurry or that's blurry? No, that's blurry. I can kind of walk you guys through the planning of those trips too, so you guys can kind of get a hang of it. But I think that's honestly it. I don't really have much else to say. That's a green. Why'd they put a green in this palette? That seems weird. Trying to figure out an inner corner highlight. Guess I'll go with this. I think I'm gonna lighten it up a little bit. Did that even work? I think it did. So I'm just gonna hop off camera officially this time, not on accident. I am going to put on some mascara. I might do a faux liner or a real liner, I don't know yet. And then I'll come back to do my lip products and kind of round out this overly talkative get ready with me. So just give me 1 second. Okay, y'all, so I have gone ahead and basically finished up my eyes. I put on mascara. I put on a color in my waterline. It's actually from ColourPop, and it's in Poopy. And then I'm gonna put on my lipstick. I'm actually gonna go ahead and just use the red in my Project Pan. It's from the Sephora collection. And yeah, I think I'm just gonna use that. Oh, this is a true red. Okay. Okay. And this is thick. I typically do not wear red anywhere. Lips, eyeshadow, none of it. So this is a lot for me. A lot. And like I said, this lipstick is thick. I'm gonna get a brown lip liner. I got one from MAC, it's the chestnut, and I'm just gonna use that to kind of calm this red down because I know other people feel like they're uncomfortable in like greens. I feel uncomfortable in reds. I know that's weird, but that's how your girl feels. I think this is it. I think I've finished my whole look. I'm gonna go ahead and throw on this Morphe spray again. We're nearing the end of this abomination and I'm very, very happy about it. But this is the finished look. Let me come in so you guys can see my eye look. I think it came out pretty well. And it actually came out darker and more sultrier than I was thinking, which works. We are heading into fall, so it is all good. And if you're wondering what the two palettes I used my two, let's zoom out, shall we? I used my two Juvia's Place palettes. I used one in Festival and the other one was the Saharan 2. I really just wanted to see if I had reds. I've been feeling like I didn't have any reds in my collection, so I wanted to just go in on the reds. I think this actually looks really good. Both my skin looks pretty good today, but also just the makeup and the blend work looks good in my opinion. It came out, like I said, darker than I was expecting because that one brush had dark purple on it, but it's all good. I still can rock it. But yeah, overall, that's kind of the steps that I take when it comes to booking flights, booking my trips, etc. I will continue to kind of talk about my trips in vlog. I will definitely be vlogging for this upcoming big trip, so just wait on it. And I think that's all I have for you guys. So as always, y'all, it has been real. Peace.